Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is YouTube. This is Pastor Dowell. You know, I thought what I would do, since it's been a considerable amount of time since I've actually came up on here and gave you my thoughts of world events, truthful news updates, and to help us all to be able to read between the lines of what's really truly transpiring and taking place in this wicked world we find ourselves in. Now, if you've been listening to me for any amount of time whatsoever at all, you know that I have told you and I have echoed it for well over 15, 20 years for sure, that America is nothing more than a revived Roman Empire. The one thing that America hates is veterans. Believe it or not, this country despises and detests veterans, especially veterans who have had, special skills, identifiers and stuff. When you look at people like Jesse Ventura, who's actually been in the stuff, and then you watch and see how he's been able to some way, somehow get into the system, trump the system, and not only that, but to be able to expose the system for what it is. He's going to become almost what you call an untouchable, because if they go out and they touch him, and then it's automatically manifested that everything that they ever have done, everything that he has spoken is nothing but the truth, and they don't want to risk that. So they don't mind a few people getting out here and so-called exposing this wicked system that we find ourselves in. But it's amazing when we start from 9/11. Do you remember 9/11? I remember 9/11 just like it was yesterday and stuff. And because, of course, even way back then, when I saw those so-called twin towers going down, I looked at it and I said, the first thing came out of my mouth was, that is a controlled demolition. Well, anyway, I know truth is stranger than fact nowadays. So as more as we continue to keep echoing this and stuff, many of you people bit of the fruit of lies, what the news media was putting out. And that's the one thing you need to learn how to do. You need to learn how to not believe everything that is told you. Because remember, if a reporter's mouth is moving, he or she is lying. They are professional liars. Have you ever been interviewed by a reporter and then had a news story ran up on you? You'll see that their story is not consistent. They pretty much write in the paper or write in the article whatever they want to tell you based on the information that they receive. And most people just do not understand what's going on. Let's just go ahead and tell it like it is. This morning, I went over and I looked at the silver prices again. And I noticed that silver has busted the $16 mark. As a matter of fact, it closed out at $16.95. Now, you may have some fears or tensions that may be disturbing you about this, but I tell you, if you go back and look at my videos from a year ago, you would hear me say, I hope it goes to $5 an ounce. Mind you, that's from someone who purchased silver at $8, $15, $20, $25, $30, $35, $40, $45. I even paid up to in upwards of $50 an ounce for silver. And I still think it's a firestorm sale. It is the buy of the century. Now, the powers that be, what they're doing is they're shaking the monkeys out of the tree. They're shaking the monkeys out of the tree because, you see, most people, when they see these prices plummet and stuff, the first thing they start doing is they're going to start to sell what are real, true resources and stuff. Because remember, most of you are impulse buyers. Most of you, you operate on emotion. You operate on feelings rather than facts. And a lot of us just simply do not have, the character, nor do we have the patience to be able to just hold out and wait for the storm to pass. We don't have that, but we need it. You need a lot of self-control today. Just like if you was invested in T-bills and treasuries and stocks and bonds and mutual funds and IRAs and all this old other paper so-called assets. I don't, that's kind of a misnomer. That's a stupid statement, paper assets, because there's no assets in paper whatsoever at all. But anyway, they sold you the bill of goods and stuff to where you move from tangible assets to paper assets. I tell you what, throughout history, they have really done a good job in order to remove us off the gold standard, i.e. what's real true money has been valued at money ever since the beginning of time, to paper. And they can continue to perpetuate wealth. But you notice something that's going on with these nations? It seems like everybody wants their gold back. I wonder why. And America, who was storing a lot of this gold, ain't giving it back to them. Can you imagine being a sovereign country like Germany and you have the majority of their gold reserves, and then they call you up and say, we want our gold back, and we tell you we'll give it to you in 10 years? Do you think America really truly has any gold? No, I think that building up there called Fort Knox is nothing more than window dressing. But let's get back to it. All right. The world's central banks and the powers that be, you need to understand that the majority of the world is controlled by less than 1% of the people. These are the powers that be. And these people are using the whole entire world as pawns in their chess game. And they're destroying people left and right. And I do mean destroying. When I say destroying, they are destroying. We got a few things we're going to read to you here. But and a few things. No, I'll tell you what. We're not going to read anything. We're just going to shoot it from the hip. How about that? How about we just shoot things from the hip, all right? But you remember in 9/11 that Saddam Hussein, he was blamed, literally blamed for the attack on the so-called alleged Twin Towers and stuff. They said Iraq had the responsibility for actually attacking the financial center of the United States of America. But the truth is, we've all found out that Saddam Hussein did not attack. He did not attack, nor can we ever find any, watch this, weapons of mass destruction after all these years. 13 years later, not one weapon of mass destruction has ever been found on that soil, yet and still, look at all the terror that the United States of America has caused, all the death, the hell, and the carnage. Now, you think about this. I know that most of you people are ignorant of history, and you don't want to be reminded of it because it's too painful. And even if you hear it, if you are just so proud of this American ways and stuff, you dissent. You definitely don't want to hear the facts of the matter, but I'm going to tell you the truth, whether you like it, understand it, or not. Listen to me and listen to me real close. The United States of Rome is a Christian country. Do you understand? So whether you choose to actually understand this, believe it or not, all of you peasants out there, you don't understand how these nobles are thinking. You see, the Crusades are still going on today. So America's a Christian nation. And over there in what they are redefined as the Middle East of today, we still have the same type of war that is going on way back then. You know, how do you say this today to get people to understand and put a defibrillator on their mind? How do you say this? I don't know how to say it to get people to think, because if you try your best to talk to people, talk to someone who are ignorant of facts, can you really truly penetrate their minds? Well, I'll tell you what, we'll go forward, and hopefully there's a hope that some way, somehow you'll gain an interest in this. Well, anyway, let's just tell the truth, the reason why we entered into Iraq, okay? The reason why we entered into Iraq is because Saddam Hussein chose to trade in euros and not dollars. Oh, you might say, well, what's the big deal about that? You have to understand, America has to keep this military-industrial complex, this war machine, still going. They have to keep it going. And anytime any of these sovereign countries decided they're going to opt out of the American dollar, our policy is just go bomb the hell out of them and make them rethink what they're doing. That's the reason why we're occupying over there in Iraq. And then it's amazing. You think about this. Muammar Gaddafi. You have to understand, all these people have been invited to the White House, invited to the dinners and stuff, sit with Ronald Reagan and Bushes and the whole 9 yards. I mean, these were kissing cousins. I mean, really kissing cousins. Go back and do your research. I told you. World, you need to understand, if any of you leaders out there ever decide to become a friend with the United States of America, you're going to get the same treatment that the Indians got in this country. You don't ever sit down and smoke peace pipe and have turkey dinners and stuff. Not with these people right here, because these are a very fierce and ferocious people. You sit down and you have peace with us and stuff, all we're doing is figuring out a way to conquer you, defeat you, to overthrow you, and to take your land. And not only that, we're going to kill the majority of your men, and then we're going to use our drones to make sure that we keep the collateral damage up very, very high. And then we're going to move the soldiers in there and stuff, and pretty soon they're going to end up taking your women, and we're going to perpetuate the dream of Alexander the Great. You got that right. We're going to make sure we spread the seed of the white man all across this world and stuff, so that the whole world, the new world order, can be one people. Because after all, we tired of all you people of the ethnic backgrounds and colors and descents and stuff, because you know what? We of our father the devil, and we got to kill, steal, and to destroy. Now somebody tell me that I'm lying to you about America. I mean, we're talking about all these terrorists, but there's nobody terrorizing the world more than this country. It's amazing. But it's amazing. Then all of a sudden, Muammar Gaddafi, he started getting him a coalition together and stuff. He started putting ideals into the minds of the Africans. Now, by the way, that continent over there really truly is not Africa. It's called the land of Ham, if you're going to deal with biblical definitions of what the land was. But there was a European by the name of Leo Scipius Africanus that actually went down there and conquered that land, and they named the land after them, just like they renamed the Middle East, and just like they rename anything. They rename things in order to get your mind off of what the truth is so that you can't connect the dots of history. That's the reason why. They hate any voices of truth and stuff that will dissent and that will actually tell you people the truth, because after all, who writes history? The people who conquer. They are the ones who write history. You are left in the dark. And if you get so-called trained, you call it education, but you're really truly being trained by the powers that be of this day, what does that do to your mind? You think you're out here regurgitating and rehashing truth to the people, and all you're doing is perpetuating a lie, and you continually keep spitting out these fruit of lies, and the deception continues to keep going until a strange thing happens. A strange thing takes place. You know what happens? The lie, after it's been told long enough, becomes the truth. Well, a lie can't be of the truth because there's no truth in a lie, and no lie is of the truth. That's all there is to it. So Gaddafi said, you know what? We need to start trading in gold. As a matter of fact, we need to band together and join together to start trading in gold. Now, all of a sudden, Gaddafi is a terrorist, just like Saddam Hussein. He got hung by puppet court. Yeah, he did too, and killed. And make no mistake about it, America was behind it. Now all of a sudden we're going to oust Saddam Hussein too. You see, these are facts right here. Remind you, everything that's going on in this world today is about resources. Resources, resources, resources. That's why Pastor Dowell tells you, get the understanding of what's happening. Listen to me. And listen to me real good. Please listen if you can. I don't know if you can or not, but I need for you to listen, and I need for you to listen real good. You need to do everything you can to become self-sufficient. You need to learn how to grow your own food, even if you have to use 5-gallon buckets or a potter. You need to learn how to grow food. You need to learn how to sustain yourself, because one day, all that war that's going on across the pond, all that death, hell, and carnage, when the powers that be get finished with this country right here, just like any other countries that are failing and falling, I told you, we're the Roman Empire, and we're following to a T the script of Rome, and we are destined to fail. We've already failed. It's just that you're seeing a slow collapse because they're taking their time to collapse it. But when the powers that be get finished with this country and stuff, and they go back over there to where everything started again, you're going to be left desolate. The trucks. Have you ever thought about what you're going to do when the trucks start coming to a neighborhood, hometown store near you? That's why I told you that Walmart was going to be the distribution center of the New World Order. I spoke that over 15 years ago. Many of you people didn't even know, Pastor Dowell. Never even heard of him. You know, you ought to take heed to wise counsel and listen to what I'm saying, and maybe you can get some understanding. But you need to amass resources independent of the corporations. And the reason being is because they're not going to take care of you when they're finished with you. If you notice, the banks are being bailed out. Everybody's being bailed out, but you people, you better put your hand to the grindstone and get it done and stop murmuring, complaining about all the debt you got. But anyway, you know, the banks, they're too big to fail and stuff. Don't worry about the government to the rescue. Airlines, too big to fail. Don't worry about it. Government to the rescue and stuff. We know how to print money out into oblivion and stuff, and we could continue to keep amassing more national debt, $17 trillion plus. That's what they tell you. I used to say $100 trillion, but now I believe it's over $250 trillion when you include unfunded liabilities such as Medicaid and Medicare. You need to wake up sincerely to what's going on. America is being sold down the tubes. And you who are traded on the stock market as commodities and stuff because of birth certificate is written in red numbers. You know, you got red numbers on there. If you really truly had your real true original birth certificate and not a certificate of birth, you'll see that all of us have been traded like slaves chattel slaves throughout all this world. And I know that everything that I'm saying to you is strange. And you may even want to call me a lunatic and stuff. I understand. Usually people who actually patriots who come out and tell you the truth about what's really truly going on. When you first hear them, they sound strange. But after you start doing your own investigation, you start finding out that, wait a minute, I've been in a matrix. I've been lied to all this time, and these people have been telling me the truth, and I have had my head stuck up in the so-called perpetual clouds. And I've been dumb, stupid, and ignorant on purpose. Well, you need amass resources. That way you can be self-sufficient for yourself. And you need to truly learn how to defend yourself. You truly need to learn how to defend yourself, because this illusion of this so-called American dream is nothing but a nightmare. And it's becoming more and more and more of a nightmare as we continue to keep the destabilization of other countries under the guise of Bush and Cheney. You remember Bush and Cheney, right? President Bush and Vice President Cheney. Cheney, who is the owner, you might as well call him the direct owner and special interest of Halliburton and stuff. Boy, he sure has enriched himself and lined his pockets, hasn't he? It's amazing how these two chicken hawks can actually dodge Vietnam and stuff, and they come back like they're some type of real true patriots and stuff, and they lead from behind, not from the front like all the great generals and the great warriors of old. You know, they used to be right out there on the battlefield, but man, what do these boogers do? They hide in a Cush plus house 5,000 miles away from any type of heat on their rear end whatsoever at all. It's amazing what this country has turned into. Now we find ourselves at war, perpetual wars. We find ourselves at war with the Egyptians, at war with Iraq, at war with Iran. Now we have the ISIL war that is going on, a war with Afghanistan, a war. I mean, we're at war. We are literally at war. And you know what's strange about this? Used to be in this country that in order for us as a country to be at war, to send one soldier to put any type of boots on the ground whatsoever at all, it had to be declared by Congress. What in the hell is going on while we are in these wars, sending your sons and daughters, bringing them back over here in body bags with parts sitting over there decomposing on the ground in another country? What is going on? Why are we at all this war and the Congress has yet not called any war? Ask yourself a question. While we are under the illusion that the Constitution is still playing, is it the truth? Are we still operating after the Constitution of the day? People need to understand. Our policy is not to stop terrorism. Our policy is to continue terrorism and the fight, and to continue to make sure that we enrich the pockets of the military-industrial complex. Ever since World War I. I mean, it's amazing the things that have gone on. Well, we have the government today passing laws that we have to abide by, but they give themselves a pass. Most people would call this not only communism, but they'll call this a fascist state. The 13th anniversary of the so-called Iraq War, the invasion of Iraq, the second invasion of Iraq, has just passed, September 11th. And, you know, it's amazing. They had nothing to do with it. I mean, you know, I just cannot simply get this stuff out of my mind. They had nothing to do with it whatsoever at all. I think there needs to be some civil disobedience, because you people are being used out there. Your minds are being manipulated. You are being toyed with and played with on an unprecedented level. You're not going to get the truth from mainstream news media, because they have bought into the New World Order, because they're lining their pockets. Y'all remember the movie Braveheart? How many times I bring up the movie Braveheart? If you don't remember the movie Braveheart, you need to actually go listen to it again and watch it again and watch it again and watch it again until some way, somehow, the fog and the clouds can start dissipating from your mind so you'll be able to see clearly what's going on. You know, we live in an age now. I'm watching the younger generation, and it's amazing. I said it yesterday when I was preaching. I said, you know what's amazing is, you know, I think that, you know, with the experience that I have in life, and as long as I've been living, and the manner of life that I have and the way that I live, I figured by now that the younger generation, especially when you're 20 and 30 and 40 years behind me, 15, 20, and 30 years behind me, 40 years behind me, I figured that you people would have enough sense to say, you know what, this man is telling the truth right here, and then consider what I say. But anytime I say anything that goes against your will, all of a sudden I have missed the mark. I don't understand. It's amazing, isn't it? But as long as I'm talking about somebody else, I'm spot on. But when I come playing around in your playground, all of a sudden I missed the mark. What kind of offense do you really truly have in you? I mean, is it really that bad when I tell you something in order to keep you from hurting yourself? Is it really that bad? I mean, are you really truly that driven by your own will where you think you know something that you have to actually really truly go out and experience pain in order to get it? Whew. What a time and what a world we're living in. But anyway, hey, Pastor Dowell, Uncensored, just trying to keep you up and keep you updated and abreast. This is the buying opportunity of a lifetime. Silver is falling. So that's telling me, according to the history of it, the charts, that it's getting ready to really go through the roof. But remember, the powers that be, the ones who control the prices and the fluctuation of it, they don't do like you people do. You see prices go up, then you go rush to buy silver. No, they buy it on the downswing when it's cheap. And then they watch all you idiots run out there and buy it on the upswing. Well, Pastor Dowell, you bought on the upswing. No. I've been buying it all along, and I keep telling you, silver even at $50 an ounce. I know it's crazy. It sounds crazy. But silver at $50 an ounce is still cheap. And it is extraordinary cheap when you consider the amount of debt that we have in the United States of America. And you know what? There's not one congressman or president that would ever get in the outhouse, or excuse me, the White House, that has the stomach to balance this national debt. You know the reason why? Because they don't want to be out in the Atlantic with concrete boots. They don't want to be pushing up daisies 6 feet under, because they start messing around with the system of the bankers. That's exactly what they're promised. And since they figured it out, this is their figure. This is how they figure. I can either get with the program of the powers that be, sell out my people, sell out my land, sell out my country, enrich myself, line my pockets, live a nice plush lifestyle, play this game and stuff that all these ignorant, stupid people out here do not get and understand, and I can live a good life. Oh, man. Because after all, they have alleviated themselves of such of a thing as an eternal hell. I mean, after all, the Hasatan has promised them some type of paradise for the wicked. Huh? And of course, you know, you got ignorant folk thinking that they're going to be sitting on a throne in hell. I'll tell you what. Well, and if it means that I have to step on you and beat you down and plow you in the ground to enrich myself, and then I will teach my family the same principles, and so we can continue to keep helping out our people, then I'm going to do it. And that's exactly what's going on. There ain't no such thing as no people in this country no more are proud of being Americans. This American dream is a literal nightmare. And you need to understand that. You need to start becoming very proficient at defending and securing your own person. You need to develop a network of people who you can trust. And I'm going to tell you right now, you'll probably go through 100 people before you can get 5 that you can trust. You need to become very discerning with the people who you choose to develop a relationship with, because everybody does not function after honor, and nor that everybody has the character or the integrity or nor the intestinal fortitude to be truthful in this wicked world that we're living in. You need to know that. You really, truly need to know that. You need to learn how to discern people, prove them, test them, and try them and see if you want them a part of you. Because when the crap hit the fans, and if you don't have this tribal mentality, to where you develop a closeness and a cohesiveness with a group, and you become one as a people, if you become one as a people, those people will shoot you in the back of the head to gain your resources because they simply can't be trusted. And you know what? You deserve exactly what you get. That's the reason why America always has this government in place, this police state, this police power. Remember, Obama said, he clearly said that he is going to have a military-industrial complex. He's going to have a civilian police, a civilian military army type style policing the streets of America. And if you notice, every time you turn around when there's some type of protest, if you want to call it that, you can't even protest your government for redress and agreement now because they come out against you with tear gas. Then we're going to go over and start beating up on everybody else for abusing their citizens when in our own backyard we're abusing people. But if you notice, they have militarized the local common police, the sheriff's department, and the police departments. They all have military equipment, military uniforms, the whole 9 yards. You know why? Because the dream of Obama and his New World Order, they have what they wanted, a military state, a military to control and police, just like Edward Longshanks did in Braveheart. Whew, I think I said enough here today. I can't give you too much. I think I've already given you too much. Matter of fact, what you probably need to do is pass this video around so people can really truly hear a real, true pastor. Oh, and by the way, I'm not a Christian either. I'm not a Christian. Abraham was a Hebrew. Isaac was a Hebrew. Jacob was a Hebrew, and he had his name changed to Israel, and he fathered the 12 tribes by 4 different women. 4 different wives he had, and they were a small nation. He made them a great nation. They transgressed against the commandments of the Most High Yah. So the Hebrews went into slavery with the Mizrahims, the Egyptians. He delivered them by Moses, the Hebrew. And he says over and over again in Exodus, he is the God of the Hebrews. So that means that Bible, when you pick it up, David was a Hebrew. That means they think different than you and I have been trained to think. Now, I think like them, and I'm learning how to divest myself of American Western thought. And I'm learning how to think Eastern because it is my culture and it is my heritage that has been robbed. The Tabernacles of Edom, according to Psalms 83, has done a good job at robbing the people of the land. I'm telling you. So Jesus was an Israelite. All the apostles were Israelites. Paul was a Hebrew and an Israelite of the tribe of Benjamin. They never heard the word Christian. But all of a sudden it's written in your book. Europeans get a hold of it and stuff. Out pops the Roman Catholic Church in the 3rd and 4th century. Now all of a sudden they control it, penmanship and stuff, and you have no self-autonomy to be able to discern and read between the lines, and you are bitten of the fruit of lies. Check out the things that I say and see if it's so. You're going to find out that I am the one that have told you the truth. And that's the truth, straightway.